Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your speaker, trainer and coach from Live, Love, Give. And today I am bringing a message to you guys all around converting the drama triangle, which I'm going to dive into with you guys who you might not have heard of it before, or you might have, but I want to take this new angle on it. And it's the drama triangle of dysfunctional relationships that we've all been a part of at one stage or another, or we might currently be a part of right now, and converting that into the empowerment triangle of healthy relationships. So I want to firstly outline what on earth the drama triangle is. And I want, as I'm doing that, I'd love for you guys to think about which role is your natural role when you get defensive, when you get into any sort of conflict or challenge, maybe right now or maybe in your past. And I'm going to give you the healthy option of converting the drama into actually empowerment, and depending on the role. And as I talk through these different roles, I want you to also bear in mind that we tend to shift and change roles depending on the circumstances, depending on what strategy we think subconsciously is going to get us what we want. But I really want you guys to think about that as I dive into them. So it's called the drama triangle because there are three different positions in the drama triangle. So the first one is the one we all know, a victim, right? So the victim is very disempowered. It's always complaining about, what's wrong. It's never doing anything about it. It doesn't believe that it has the power to change its circumstances. And that role is the victim. So in any sort of drama, there's always got to be a victim, right? And then another position in the drama triangle is the rescuer. So the rescuer is all about trying to save victims, right? So it's kind of, they also refer to the rescuer as the hero. And this is the one that wants to come in there and save the victim. It's always looking for someone to save in order to feel good about itself. But as we can see, when we try and rescue somebody who doesn't want to be saved or helped, we can get into a lot of frustration, and ultimately we can be, as the rescuer or the hero, ensuring that the victim stays in that victim mindset and mentality, because we're not giving them the tools and the systems and the strategy to actually help them grow and evolve and get beyond that victim mentality. We're actually validating their experience, and we're getting our own needs met by actually, being the one to make the difference and save that person, right? But it's not healthy. Right, so they're two of the positions. And then the third position of the drama triangle is the persecutor. And the persecutor is also referred to by some as the villain. The persecutor is like that victim can't get their life together, and just judging, condemning, criticizing, blaming. And also it's looking at the rescuer and thinking, can you stop trying to do what you're doing? And it's just, the persecutor is noticing what's wrong, and it criticizes, blames, controls, can end up being kind of a bit of a bully. And as I said, in all of our relationship dynamics, we have a home base, where we tend to go to more. For some of us, it's the victim, where we feel totally disempowered to change the circumstances of our lives, and we're complaining about it but not doing anything about it. For some of us, it's the rescuer, not me, maybe, and we're constantly trying to save people, trying to help people who don't necessarily want to be saved, and we can end up keeping them stuck in their victim mentality. And there's also the persecutor that we can be at sometimes as well, when we just get all judgy and critical of people, and we can see what they're doing wrong, but all we do is judge and criticize them and bring them down, and that's our position that we take in the drama triangle. Like I said, this can shift and change. It can, and we can fluctuate within ourselves. Personally, I've just experienced this. I'm witnessing this in one of my relationships, where I'm seeing a person switch between these different roles. Like 1 minute, kind of going from the victim, and then the next minute they go into the persecutor. And then it's just kind of like, it's really interesting to watch this dynamic at play. And it's a lot easier to watch this dynamic at play when you're not part of it, or when you're not being triggered emotionally by it and you haven't fallen into the drama triangle. But what I really wanted to make the focus of with today's message is helping you empower yourself so that you can have a strategy of getting out of the drama triangle. But first base for every piece of growth is always self-awareness. You've got to know where you are. You've got to be honest with yourself. Where do I tend to go? Am I currently experiencing this? Am I currently playing the victim? Or am I currently trying to rescue somebody who's playing the victim and it's not helpful? Or am I just judging everybody and criticizing them and blaming them for where they are and bringing them down, right? So with that all said, I hope that all made sense to you guys, and I'd love for you guys to identify where is your home base. And now I want to talk about how you can empower yourself. So once you know where your home base is, or anytime you can notice and be self-aware enough to recognize yourself in playing in any of the positions of the drama triangle, I want you to shift it to the empowerment triangle. So what you do there is, if you notice yourself being the victim, you're feeling totally disempowered, you can't change anything, poor me, complaining about everything, and you want to empower yourself, you've got to shift roles from the victim to the creator. Now, the creator is, okay, it acknowledges the challenges, but it gets creative in terms of creative solutions. But what could I do? Or who could support me here? Or what do I need to shift and change? What do I need to take responsibility for? It gets creative and it finds solutions to move forward towards. And then also we have when we come up and we find ourselves playing let's go with the rescuer. When we find ourselves being the rescuer and we're trying to save everybody, and it's oftentimes at the expense of that person's growth because we're trying to make it all happen for them, we can shift roles to the empowered triangle, which is shifting from the rescuer to the coach. Now, this has been a huge thing that I've done in my life, and I continue to find myself slipping back into the pattern of the rescuer at times, and just wanting to be helpful, but finding myself seeing that it's actually not helpful. But for the majority of my life, I lived in the rescuer position. And in that position, I was constantly, somehow attracting people who really didn't have it together, who had major challenges and struggles, who were massive victims. And the dynamic that was at play was me trying to save them. Me trying to be that rescuer and try and save them. And all it did was actually validate their victim story, keep them stuck. I was just telling them what they wanted to hear rather than what they needed to hear. And over time, it's no surprise that I've actually become a coach in my life. And I love what I do in that realm because I'm now using my skills to acknowledge people's challenges and see their potential and help guide them in that direction. I'm using that for good rather than a hindrance, and shifting from the rescuer, going to do it all for you, going to save you, going to help you in any way that I can at the expense of my own needs, to, hey, okay, I see you've got this challenge, but you know what? I believe you. I've got your back. Like, let me help you get the tools, get the strategies, get you moving in that direction. I believe in you. I'm your raving fan. Let's do it together. But helping them to take the action themselves so that they empower themselves, rather than just being reliant on me, which has happened a lot in my past, where I've just created relationship dynamics where I gained my self-worth from helping them in their lives. They gained their self-worth from keeping their victim story. And at the end of the day, we both end up feeling completely disempowered and completely reliant and codependent on one another, right? So I'm I'm so grateful that I've woken up, and I've got a lot of work to do always. I'll never say I've made it, but I've come a long way compared to who I used to be in that rescuer mode. And I'm not going to lie about it. I definitely slip into that role sometimes because I want to help so badly. But, you know, I'm constantly being challenged with different circumstances that wake me up to that not being helpful, so that I can switch back into the coach, you know, and not force my helping onto others. And then lastly, if you find yourself as the perpetrator or the villain, and you're criticizing and judging and blaming people for their problems, but you're actually just bringing them down constantly, switching from the persecutor to the challenger, right? And so the challenger is somebody who builds you up. You know, it doesn't judge you, criticize you, condemn you, and bring you down. It actually builds you up, believes in you, and says, okay, well, that's the problem. What's the strategy? You know, and I definitely find myself going here nowadays as well. You know, getting into that challenger position so that you can empower people to find the answers and take the action rather than staying stuck and victimized. And remembering that, you know, whenever we're operating in one of those three roles in the drama triangle, we're lacking self-esteem. You know, we're in complete fear. So as the perpetrator, beating down on people when they're already lacking self-esteem and feeling low and they're stuck in the drama, it's just never going to work. You know, fighting fear with fear only serves to magnify it and create more disempowerment and more lack of motivation and inspiration to actually get out of your troubles. So that's why shifting the role from the perpetrator to the challenger is super empowering, and we all want people in our lives who can switch between the roles as necessary, you know, of being the creator, getting those creative solutions instead of playing the victim, of being the coach, you know, helping and supporting us, having our back, seeing our potential and helping to guide us toward that, instead of the rescuer who's trying to do everything for us and not allow us to empower ourselves. And then thirdly, we don't want the perpetrator, we want a challenger in our lives who goes, okay, all right, but where's the action? Let's get you moving by taking action. All right, so that is the ability to shift from, you know, shift out of the drama triangle where we're playing the victim, we're playing the rescuer, and we're playing the perpetrator, to the empowerment triangle where we're playing the creator, and we're also being the challenger, and we're also being the coach. All right, guys, so I'm really, really hoping that today's message is going to serve you and going to help you to just get some self-awareness. Where have I been playing? And how do I want to shift out of that so that I can get empowered and get rid of dysfunctional quality of relationship going on and convert that to a healthy dynamic in your relationships. So, feel like I've been rambling on, but I really hope that today's message is serving you. Before I jump into the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know where in the world you are tuning in from. That always excites me to see us all connecting from across the globe, and also talking about connecting from all across the globe. If you haven't already joined us in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community, link is up above. We would love to have you in there, creeping up to something like 5,000 incredible human beings, you know, from across the globe, from over 30 different countries, moving towards higher levels of their potential, and they want to support, challenge, and encourage you to do just that as well. So definitely come and join us over there, and let me check in with you guys. I have got Adelpho, hello to you, my friend, and Melissa, and Jace, and Jason, and Rose, and Linda, and Steve, and Hassani. Awesome to see all you guys. And Lisa, I love this topic. I've heard you speak of this a long time ago. Oh, I love that you remembered, Lisa. Yeah, when I was creating this message today, you know, I was like, I'm sure I did a Facebook Live on this, maybe even a year ago. So I love that you actually remembered that. That's so cool. And it's really good to see you. And Ashok, and Jeremy, and Alexandria, hello. And Luigi, and Leslie, and hello, Rose. And Sam's here. Hi to you. I love it. And Arthur, and Tatiana, and Rose, Insa, and you're watching together. I love it. Beautiful Insa. Hello to you, my friend. Little superstar you. And George is here. And Sam, you always bring up inspiring topics. Love it. I'm super grateful to hear that, Sam. As always, love that this is an inspiration for you. Touch of my heart. And Jay, sounds like you were running a rescue charity at times. I absolutely was. That's a good way of saying it. And you being my brother know a lot of the relationships in my life and probably have seen that play out time and time again. So I love having you here. And Lisa, it's good to see you. And Jeremy, how do you deal with someone you feel is a victim or the persecutor? Yeah, so if you're on the other end, great question. Love it. So if you're on the other end of, being able to witness what other role another person is playing, the first step is to stop acknowledging what they're doing wrong. Look at yourself, because we have an influence on one another. And this is really fascinating when you reflect back on the dynamics in your relationship. So if you can see, oh, that person is being such a victim, right? And then you can see how you're kind of being the perpetrator potentially at that time. Or you can see that, somebody is being the persecutor, and you can see yourself as the victim or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it doesn't empower us to notice what somebody else is doing wrong before we work out what we're potentially doing wrong. Acknowledge that, identify that, and recognize that when we operate in one of those three positions in the drama triangle, we oftentimes influence the people around us to show up in the counter energy and role, and that's bring us back into kind of balance. So the drama triangle just keeps going around and around and around, and we keep shifting those roles. 1 minute we're the victim, then we're the persecutor, and the other person's the victim, and we're swapping around, right? And what we need to do is recognize, stop in the time it's happening, recognize what's going on, and go, okay, what's the out here? Because in order to get out of the drama triangle, it's not to revert to a different role in and amongst that. It's actually to go, hang on a minute, maybe you first off notice that somebody is playing the victim, say, and then you can look at yourself and you can go, okay, what role am I playing here? I'm feeling like I'm playing the rescuer all the time, or I'm playing the persecutor all the time, right? And so say you recognize, okay, that person's playing the victim. What am I doing? I'm actually playing the persecutor right now. And like, they're really pissing me off, I'm getting angry at them because they're constantly playing in that victim role. So instead, look at yourself, empower yourself, and go, okay, the persecutor is judging, criticizing, blaming that person, telling them to get out of what they're doing, not understanding or acknowledging, and actually just bringing that person down. If I want to shift this dynamic and be a leader here, I want to shift it into the empowerment triangle. So what does the persecutor do? The persecutor becomes the challenger. And what does the challenger do? The challenger goes, okay, acknowledge the problem. Let's get some steps together. How are you going to get out of this? And let's take the action. And it builds that other person up rather than beating them down. So you can see how just knowing the differences between the drama triangle and the empowerment triangle, and if you notice somebody else doing the wrong thing or their position in the drama triangle first, bring it back to the self, acknowledge what position you're playing, and then shift it into the empowered triangle. And you can only work at being the leader in your relationship dynamics. And do that. And that's the starting point. So hope that was valuable. I appreciate your question there, Jeremy. And Alex is here, and Anthony, and Philip. Awesome, guys. So that really was my message for you guys. I really hope that it was helpful to you, having those kind of triangles as a way of just kind of building self-awareness around your relationship dynamics and giving you a strategy to empower something that might be dysfunctional. Really hope that this helps and supports you. And as always, I'm sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you, to wherever you are in the world today. I hope it's beautiful, amazing, and extraordinary. And I really hope that you are going to take on board today's message and make your dysfunctional relationship dynamics super healthy and empowered by understanding the drama triangle and knowing how to transition into the empowerment triangle. Sending you guys all of my love. Thanks so much for joining me and engaging, and I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow.